Hello, it is Ashley here. I am super excited to share this layout for the A Cherry on Top YouTube hop. This month for our theme, it is layered stencils. I am using this collection. It is the Happy Days collection from Cocoa Vanilla. And I, of course, had to use this paper. So I'm just marking out kind of where the colors will land on my background piece, and I'm using this stencil from ACOT to create a fun background on the right side of my page. So I just pulled some inks from my stash, and I tried to match the colors the best I could. I think I did okay. I didn't have a yellow, unfortunately, but it kind of worked out okay because that section where the orange and yellow meet, the orange is so small that it kind of took up a lot of that space anyway. So I was trying to kind of follow my pencil lines, but it didn't work out perfectly. But in the end, I really like the way it turned out. So you can see here, I'm going to just go right from the orange to the green and continue to blend the colors kind of into each other so it's a decent transition. I'm trying not to get the edge of the stencil so that there's a harsh line. I did get it a couple times, but I didn't do too bad. I don't normally do mixed media because I don't think I'm the best at it, but this was actually a lot of fun. So I think I might try this again with just a different stencil, maybe even a different technique, not layering, but you'll see the layering here in just a little bit. I'm going to bring another mixed media product in. So I should have cleaned off my stencil here because you can kind of see that turned into an icky, like brownish color, and that was because I didn't clean off my stencil and it kind of mixed with that blue, and yeah, it was not pretty. So I kind of fixed that, and here I'm like, okay, no, clean off your stencil. Then it won't happen again. So get that all cleaned off and my workspace all dried off, and then I can continue. Lesson learned. Clean off your stencil. Okay, now I think I have another blue, maybe two blues, I can't remember. Maybe, yeah, one more blue and then the purple. And my purple definitely was not the right color, but it's okay. No worries. It all worked out. I just love the way this turned out. I was actually impressed that it was okay. All right. I love how that looks, how the colors kind of transition in some of the clouds, like the middle of the clouds, how they transition from one color to the next. So getting my things cleaned off here, my brush and stencil, and then we will move on. So for the layering part, I am going to be using this, trying to figure out how I want the stencil because I didn't want it to lay over perfectly on the clouds. I wanted it to be in a different spot. So I think I actually turned it around, but I'm using this model paste from Art Basics. I think that's what it's called. But this is kind of an opaque modeling paste, and I like that because it lets the colors still come through without completely covering up what I just did. So that was perfect for this design. So once it's dry, you can still see it. It's just not like very dramatic or anything. So I love that. It turned out so nice. Okay, now I am going to work on stitching. So of course, I could not look at this paper and not think about stitching on it. So that's what I did here. Just poking the holes, and the stitching actually went fairly fast. I think I got it done in maybe 2 to 3 hours, which maybe to some that's a lot, but I think that was actually pretty quick. And I kind of kept this stitching pretty simple. I think the yellow piece had the most, but the yellow section, but it's not too bad. To kind of finish off this edge, I'm just going to use the scrap that I cut off and tear it to kind of tuck under. Had I been thinking about that, I probably would have just done that from the beginning. Instead of cutting it, I would have just torn this edge. But I think it looks super cool, just an extra piece just tucked under and torn. Just gives a fun little whimsical look to that pattern paper and where the clouds start. Okay, so I want to back my photos. So I'm just going back, or I'm going into this 6x8 paper stack. And first, before I add the pattern paper, I need to use some white cardstock. Okay, so I'm just cutting down some white cardstock to mat my photos. I pretty much always use, I think it's American Crafts. Oh, I can't remember. It's a textured white cardstock. It's my favorite. I think I buy it off Amazon. It's been a while since I purchased it, so that's what I'm doing here. Just cutting down the excess. Okay. I'm just going to mention also while I'm layering these photos, I'm just auditioning some of the pattern paper to figure out which ones I want. If you leave a comment on each of the videos in this hop, you will be entered into a chance to win a $25 gift card to the A Cherry on Top shop, which is super awesome. So you'll find the list of all the design team members, their videos in the description. Alright, so those are now matted on those two floral pattern papers. And let's see, can't remember what I'm going to do next. Oh, I'm going to pull out these, that pattern paper for some butterflies. I'll fussy cut some of those. But I am going to kind of play around with these ephemera pieces from their ephemera die cut pack and just kind of make some clusters around the photos. Yeah, I wasn't like, usually when I do something like this, a rainbow style layout, I usually go tone on tone with the embellishments, but I don't know, this time I just decided not to. So my title is that little banner piece that says "Shine Bright Like a Diamond," and I'm gonna keep that little floral tucked or layered on top there. The other embellishments that I put on the top of my photo on the right, I'm actually not gonna use most of that stuff, or if I do, it'll be in a different spot. So I'm just using this heart punch to punch out some tiny hearts. I love this punch. It's probably one of my favorite punches. And I'm using that excess paper and just punching out lots of tiny hearts to layer on. So I guess I am doing tone on tone on this side. Just gonna layer some or add some hearts onto this layered stencil look. I had to pull in that 6x8 paper because I didn't have enough of the purple to get a big heart. So because I have this stitching here, I'm gonna need to use some double-sided adhesive just to help make sure that my photos stick down to the paper and they don't fall off. And then I will start to work on adding in the embellishments. I think actually I'm going to glue the hearts down. I glued all of them down flat, and then I decided, no, I want some of them popped up. So after I glued them all down, I had to peel some off, and it worked out just fine. Most of them didn't rip, and if they did, it was just like the very back layer, so no big deal. So I cut off that extra piece of the frame that I didn't need since it was being partially tucked behind that photo. Gonna put that piece here for my title on the left side of that photo, and add that floral piece in. I think that just finishes off that part really nicely. I love these foam strips. They work super nice. I can't remember where I got these. Oh, yeah, I can't remember, sorry. But you can find foam strips like this pretty much anywhere. Yeah, so now here's where I'm going back, and I decided I want some of these hearts popped up on foam adhesive. So peeling them up and just sticking them back down. And I just kind of picked just random ones. I wasn't going to do all of them, especially since I already adhered them down, and I didn't want to, like this little tiny one, I think I only did 1 or 2 of those because it was so tiny and really hard to get the foam adhesive behind it without showing. So I'm gonna play around with these embellishments a little bit more. I didn't really like what I had going on with the pieces I had pulled out earlier, and I liked those little pinwheels, so I'm going to use those 2 and that little flag that says yay. I really liked those tassels, but they were a little bit too big. And then I am going to do some embellishing off camera. Sometimes that's the hardest part for me, is figuring out which embellishments I want, and I just kind of just play around, and sometimes it comes easily, but most of the time I'm like, oh, what do I like? Especially when I'm building clusters, I think I just get indecisive, and I'm just fiddle with them so much it kind of drives me crazy. So I have to kind of step away sometimes, or take a picture and try different things. And so I did, like I said, did some of the embellishing off camera, but the ones that I had picked out here that I'm gonna put on the top of that right hand photo, I'm gonna use some foam adhesive. I've been trying to use, I do like foam adhesive, but I noticed that a lot of my albums are not able to hold as many layouts, and it's because I'm using so much foam adhesive. So I am trying to stick with a thinner foam adhesive and maybe not use it on every single embellishment, but I love foam adhesive so much because of the shadowing it gives, so it's kind of hard not to use it. And especially since this layout has stitching on it, it already has dimension, so I definitely wanted to use foam adhesive. I'm gonna fussy cut some more of those butterflies, and I did that off camera because that took a while. And I'm gonna play around with how I want them on the background. I really wanted to use them on this rainbow side, but I could not get them to look nice. Like I tried to do like a diagonal line of them, but I didn't like that, and so I was kind of just trying to scatter them, just keeping them on the colors. But I ended up just putting them with the hearts, and I actually really like how that looks. So you can see some of the other embellishments I added, like that little sun and these little rainbows. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment and continue to hop along for all of the amazing inspiration that we have for you guys. Thank you again, and have a wonderful day.